I was having your boy Rico from StreetScores, and wow, the Washington Commanders seem to be pretty active leading up to this trade deadline, because now it is reported that the Washington Commanders are trying to trade for the Tennessee Titans sack savant Harold Landry, automatic double-digit sack guy. Also, I'm gonna provide y'all a big-time Wednesday injury update that's gonna include Jaden Daniels, Brandon Coleman, and everybody on our team, and also the upcoming matchup we have against the Bears, their injuries as well. And also, you already know this video is sponsored by BetUS Sportsbook and Casino. Make sure you tap in. But before we dive into everything in this video, make sure you stiff arm that like button, stiff arm the subscription button, and stiff arm the bell next to that subscription button so you get notification each and every time I release an informative and opinionated video just like this one. Make sure you stay tuned to all of the content. Again, all of this stuff that's going on with the Commanders is really fun. It's to the point where I'm doing 2-3 videos a day. I mean, today is actually less than what I've normally been doing with 3 videos a day. Now there's only 2, so I'm gonna try to get a film session done that will be exclusive only to channel members before tonight is up, so make sure you stay tuned for that. And of course, I will be live streaming the upcoming game against the Bears, and I will keep y'all updated on everything Commanders, injury wise, health wise, player wise, trade wise, anything like that every day this week. Multiple videos a day. And without further ado, let's go and dive into this video. Let's get it. Adam. All right, so Titans Pro Bowl, let's make sure we emphasize that, Pro Bowl pass rusher Harold Landry III is reportedly available for trade and has been linked to the Washington Commanders already by front office personnel around the NFL. This is not just coming from some random source that's just making it up saying, oh, the Washington Commanders should do this. No, it's being reported from behind the scenes, from the people that are in the in crowd for the NFL, front office people from other teams around the NFL, like their GMs, their scouting guys, all of that type of stuff, their assistant general manager, basically their versions of Adam Peters and Lance Newmark and Brandon Sosnes. Those guys around the NFL for different teams are looking at the Commanders potentially trying to get Harold Landry from the Tennessee Titans. The official, actual tweet that this came from was from @_ML Football. He said, breaking news. Titans Pro Bowl pass rusher Harold Landry is apparently available via trade and is highly sought after by multiple contenders right now. And hey, I like the fact that our name is included in the contenders. Landry has been strongly linked to the Lions, the Falcons, the 49ers, and the Commanders by front office personnel. He has recorded 12.5 sacks in his last 17 games. We're going to dive into how good he is. We're going to get all the way into how an elite sack guy this guy is, automatic double-digit sack guy. But before we do, I wanted to make sure that y'all knew that this show is provided by BetUS Sportsbook and Casino, and if you're looking for a new sportsbook, it should be BetUS for sure, man. First of all, they have the fastest payouts in the industry, and I know y'all want y'all money fast. I know I do. And right now, BetUS is offering you a 150% sign-up bonus on your first deposit and a 125% sign-up bonus on your next 2 deposits for up to $2,000 with code YouTube150. That's YOUTUBE 150. They also have a fast and easy deposit and withdrawal process, so it's like, why not? Now let's dive into some actual bets that we can get into from their website directly. Right now, for this upcoming matchup against the Commanders and Bears, we're the underdogs. We are, if you're picking us to win, that's plus 120 odds right now. Most people are expecting us to lose, but I feel like Jaden Daniels being hurt plays a large role into this because we are the home team, and I feel like if Jaden Daniels were healthy, maybe we would be the overdogs. But since a lot of people assume that this is probably be Marcus Mariota running out there and playing quarterback against the Bears for the Washington Commanders, some people just doubt him and feel like that the Bears have a better chance of winning, especially with Mariota out there. But either way, if you were to put $100 down on the Washington Commanders winning, if you believe in us like that, if you believe that we still can beat the Bears with or without Jaden Daniels, and you put the bet in now before there's an announcement that Jaden Daniels will not play officially, then these odds may actually decrease. Or if we hear that Jaden Daniels will play, the odds may actually increase to the point that you wouldn't even be making much profit. So if you were willing to do it today and bet on the Washington Commanders beating the Bears before we get any further injury updates on what's going on with Jaden Daniels, and we're still up in the air, you could turn $100 into $120. So that's completely up to you. Y'all already know, man, I'm always going to emphasize every single video that you need to make sure you gamble responsibly. Please, if you don't do nothing else, please make sure you gamble responsibly. And if you believe in the Washington Commanders, this is a good bet to make over the Bears. I'm still fairly confident. I can't wait to see whether Jaden Daniels plays or not, but I think Marcus Mariota, if he plays how he played against the Carolina Panthers, the Bears defense is better. But if he keeps playing the way he did, if you actually look at the All-22, he was making some elite throws after he got into rhythm. We may still be able to win that game. And again, before we move on, right now, BetUS is offering you a 150% sign-up bonus on your first deposit and is a 125% sign-up bonus on your next 2 deposits for up to $2,000 with code YOUTUBE150. Now let's get back to talking about Harold Landry and the Washington Commanders. And I don't know if all of y'all remember, but back when that 2018 draft was starting to shape out, leading up to the 2018 draft, Harold Landry was supposed to be one of the best players from the draft. Like, Pro Football Focus had their top 250 players for the 2018 draft before it went down. And number 1, they had Baker Mayfield. Number 2, they had Sam Darnold. And it's crazy because now the Sam Darnold pick is actually looking pretty good. The Baker Mayfield's working out pretty well for the Buccaneers as well. Then you have Maurice Hurst from Michigan. That didn't necessarily work out that well, but Quentin Nelson from Notre Dame, who ended up going to the Colts. You have Derwin James. Josh Rosen was the worst pick out of this entire thing. Then you have my Georgia dog, Roquan Smith. You have Josh Jackson, the cornerback from Iowa. You have Denzel Ward from Ohio State over there doing his thing for the Cleveland Browns. I want the Washington Commanders to trade for him. Mika Fitzpatrick, who first went to the Dolphins, now is on the Steelers. You have Saquon Barkley, who ended up being really good. And then immediately after all of those top names I just gave you, some top dogs still currently in NFL right now killing it. Harold Landry was 12th on Pro Football Focus's big board for the best players entering that draft, above guys like Bradley Chubb even. I mean, there was like a big debate. Do you prefer Bradley Chubb or do you prefer Harold Landry coming out of that draft? You also have Frank Ragnow. You have Mike McGlinchey, you have Will Hernandez, Connor Williams, Lamar Jackson, Vita Vea, Dallas Goedert, Jair Alexander, Calvin Ridley. You have Leighton Vander Esch. You know, that worked out pretty well for the Cowboys for a while. Marcus Davenport, Tremaine Edmonds, who I wanted so bad in that draft. DJ Moore, Dante Jackson, Josh Allen, Isaiah Oliver, Deron Payne himself, Cortland Sutton, Nick Chubb, my Georgia dog, you know what I'm saying? Like Mike Gesicki, so many great players. And of course, that was also the Darius Geis draft, just to go ahead and throw that in there as well. But also my Georgia dog, Sony Michel, Mark Andrews, Michael Gallup from the couple of years he had that were pretty good, Wyatt Teller. I mean, there are some real names in this draft, and Harold Landry was ranked above most of those guys that I just listed. After I said Harold Landry's name, he was listed above all of those names that I just gave you. And then even Sports Illustrated had him ranked 18th on their big board. And then Bleacher Report had him ranked 15th, again above guys like Vita Vea, Josh Jackson, Calvin Ridley, Leighton Vander Esch. I remember Rashaan Evans. He was supposed to be really good. Mike McGlinchey, Jair Alexander, all kinds of unique, great talents. Deron Payne, Cortland Sutton, Mike Gesicki, Dallas Goedert. I mean, we can go on and on and on how many great players ended up going after him. And for some reason, I believe it's just because he's on the Titans that a lot of people kind of forgot about him, because it's not like he hasn't balled out for the past couple of years. But either way, he entered the draft being assumed to basically at worst be a top 20 player, right? Well, he ended up only going in the second round, in the 9th pick of the second round. So he fell way lower than most people expected, and a lot of people felt like the Titans got a big steal right there. There was even an argument that maybe the Titans don't necessarily need edge rusher that bad, but it was like the best player available situation, kind of like how we took Johnny Newton early in the second round. The Tennessee Titans were like, whoa, there's no way we expected this guy to be available in the second round. We gotta take him type of situation. And then if you look at his relative athletic score, just to let you know, that 9.47 is actually really crazy because it's really close to Bradley Chubb's in the same class, and it's right ahead of where Nick Bosa will end up scoring the following season. So he had a better relative athletic score than even Nick Chubb, and it's comparable to Bradley Chubb, who a lot of people felt like was like an elite edge rusher coming out of the draft. Again, a lot of people forget how hyped Harold Landry was coming out of the draft. He just ended up going later than people expected, and he's been doing his thing for the Titans, but I guess because he's been on the Titans, people haven't really necessarily paid attention to him, but he's been pretty much living up to that draft pick. You can say he's been living up even beyond that draft draft pick is still a steal. He's been playing like a first rounder because, again, he's an automatic double-digit sack guy. We're going to get there, but I want to point out the fact that the only thing that he had going against him was that he was short and small for a typical defensive end, but his explosion was great. His speed was elite. He ran a 4.64 at 252 pounds, and he's even heavier than that now, and he had an elite agility grade as well. His shuttle, his three-cone, all ridiculous stuff right here. This is a pure freak athlete with a crazy high ceiling, and just to remind you, he's not that old. He's only going to get better. He's only 28 years old. He's probably still like entering his prime or still in the middle of it. Either way, I still think he has room to grow and get even better from where he is right now. And shouts out to my dog, Serge the Shooter, because I agree. He said, all right, I'm really starting to hear the Harold Landry stuff. Just turned 28, could be a good pull. Came into his own in 2021, but then followed it up with a torn ACL in 2022. And then the year right after that, he got right back to getting double-digit sacks again. Let's take a look at the stats, because 2021 played every single game. Literally, since 2019, since he first became a full-time starter, he has started and played in every game possible. So this is not an injury-prone guy. He just missed 2022 because he tore his ACL, and then he came back 2023, and even though he technically only, they say, started 10 games according to Pro Football Reference, but he played in all 17. So go ahead and get injury-prone out of the way. He's not that. 2019 played in every game possible. 2020 played in every game possible, started all of them. 2021 played in every game possible, started in all of them, and he had 12 sacks that season on top of 43 quarterback pressures. That is insane stuff right there. Then again, that was 2021. Then 2022, he tore his ACL, so he didn't get to play then. Then 2023, he came right back and gave you 10.5 sacks with 26 pressures. Even though he was still a little banged up, he still found a way to get double-digit sacks, and the Commanders need as many double-digit sack guys on their roster as possible. Again, fully healthy, 12 sacks, tore his ACL the next year, came back the year after that and still had 10.5 even though he wasn't fully healthy. And then so far through 6 games this season, he already has 4 sacks and 11 quarterback pressures. He's on pace to completely blow out the water the pressures that he got last year. Again, still managed to get 10.5 sacks, but he was not his fully healthy 100% self. And again, to pull out 10.5 sacks while not fully healthy is amazing. I'm really potentially excited about what he could be here if we do end up getting him. Even Pro Football Focus grade wise, they feel like he's getting better and better every season. Right now, so far through the first 7 weeks of this season, they feel like he has earned the best overall grade in his NFL career so far with a 70.1. And even more amazing, Pro Football Focus feels like he's grown as a run defender. This is his best run defense grade so far in any season of his career right now. Again, it's only been 7 games, but so far through 7 games, he has his highest run defense grade that he's ever had in a single season of his NFL career with a 78.1 run defense grade. And that is like the only weakness people are concerned about when it comes to him. Like, with him being like a smaller sized edge rusher, more of like an outside linebacker, more of like a Von Miller build than like a true edge setter like a Dorrance Armstrong or a Cleveland Farrell that's more so like a defensive end that can maybe even kick inside at 3-tech if you need him to rush the pass or do stunts. Harold Landry's more so just pure outside linebacker, Von Miller type of guy. That type of mode. I'm not saying he's Von Miller. I'm just saying that type of play style, that type of build where he's more of an outside linebacker than like an actual defensive end. Either way though, that being one of his biggest concerns and weaknesses that people have for him. And then right now he's playing at an elite level as far as run defense goes so far this season. That shows that now that he's starting to get fully healthy again, and the fact that he's really worked on that part of his game, this is a complete linebacker that you do not have to take off of the field on obvious running downs. Like, you know, typically, especially when he was coming out of the draft, people were like, he's an elite pass rusher. He'll probably be a double-digit sack guy, but he's purely like what you would consider a Dante Fowler, just a pure pass rush specialist that you only throw out there on obvious passing downs, 3rd and long and things like that. But when it's 3rd and 1, 4th and 1, or goal line situations, you may want to take him out of the game because he may not be strong enough to handle it. This season, he's learned to become strong enough to handle it, so that makes me want him even more. Even if he didn't have that run defense part of his game, I still say go get him. But now the fact that he's a complete edge rusher right now, not just a quarterback getter, but an edge setter and a run defender, that makes him a complete guy that you never have to take off the field in any situation other than the fact that he's tired. Nothing schematically, nothing strategy-wise requires you to remove him from the field. And like I've been saying for a few weeks now, the most impactful ways that we could improve our secondary coverage problems right now would be, number 2, Mike Sanford still develops into a lockdown outside corner like we've been seeing flashes of the last couple of weeks, and literally he's been getting better and and better every game. It's going to be scary what he's going to look like by the end of the season. I'm so excited. This guy is an insane rookie right now. His development track, his trajectory, wild. I don't know if a lot of y'all have actually been peeping, but I mean, you can make an argument he's going for defensive rookie of the year type of stuff. Also, number one, that was number two. Number one biggest impact that could potentially solve our coverage problems is getting a better and more consistent pass rush to where corners don't even have to cover as long. Because without a consistent pass rush, no corner in the NFL, no matter how elite, can cover for 5-6+ seconds all of the time, down in, down out. That's just the nature of the position, especially while we have JJB, Javonte Jean-Baptiste on IR, and Jonathan Allen gone for season, and Dorrance Armstrong is banged up as well. We need edge rusher help. I know some people are looking at it, well, when we are fully healthy, we already have enough guys, but right now we aren't. And we want to win right now. I mean, we may not necessarily be in Super Bowl or bust mode right now, but we are in, man, we need to take advantage of this rookie deal that we have for Jaden Daniels right now and try to win as soon as possible, because your Super Bowl window is as biggest and brightest while you have an elite quarterback on a rookie deal. Now is the time more than ever, because you see what's going on with the Cowboys ever since they paid Dak Prescott. Pat Mahomes is really the only quarterback out here breaking the mold for getting ridiculous money, eating up a lot of cap space, and still being great enough to overcome the roster around him not being that great, because he's just that great. Because once you pay the quarterback ridiculous money and he's eating up all of the cap space, you don't have enough cap space to pay all of the great players around him to make a great team. You see that going on with Dak Prescott. You see, since they paid Jalen Hurts, they've been struggling. You see this all around the NFL right now. Once you pay the quarterback, you struggle to make it back to that level that you used to reach when the quarterback was getting paid little money, and the guys around him, you were able to pay the top dogs to surround them with great talent. So now is the time. So again, my point is, going back to my main point, we are really hurt at edge rusher right now, and if we want to win right now, we're trying to compete. We're the second seed in the NFC right now. Why wouldn't we try to compete? I think Harold Landry will be a great trade, and not even just for now, for this year, also for the future, because he's only 28 years old and he still has a couple of years left on his contract. We're gonna get there. But also, shouts out to James_Souls on Twitter, because he brings up a good point. My only issue is, how does he fare well on early downs? Is he an early down rusher? Is Fowler an early down rusher? The tools are there for Landry to be a good starter, but I'm unsure at this moment right now. Fowler turning himself into a stud right now, and I already gave you the heads up on Fowler. I have that same feeling about if we trade for Harold Landry, just to let you know. And my boy Serge the Shooter comes with a great response. He says use both. Landry's been a stud for a few years now, and I completely agree. That's the point I've been making. He's improved as a run defender, especially if you go and look at the tape. He's gotten bigger, he's gotten stronger, so I'm not worried about that. And then the reason I'm bringing up those quotes from Twitter right now from those two guys is because some people may be thinking, well, we already have Dante Fowler. Why would you go get another pass rush specialist, outside linebacker type of guy, when we have defensive ends getting hurt, not outside linebackers? Again, I think he's growing into more of like a defensive end guy that can set the edge. And also, how could you ever have too many edge rushers, especially when he's not making ridiculous money? We're going to get to that. And also, I'm way less concerned about how he'll fit on this defense and how Joe Witt Jr. will be able to deploy him in this defense and get the most out of him than I am concerned about what are our chances of even getting them in the first place. Once we get him, I think they'll figure it out and he'll be great. I think he'll go right back to being a double-digit sack guy once again. My biggest concern with Harold Landry is not what we do once we have him, is how do we get him? Because you even have Titans fans on Twitter saying exactly, quote, Harold Landry might as well start looking for an apartment when he touches down in Detroit on Saturday, unquote, because the Titans do play the Lions real soon, and there already may be like a trade going on behind the scenes. Remember, the Lions were one of the teams that are reportedly interested. It's the Lions, it's the Commanders, the 49ers, and the Falcons, and again, the Tennessee Titans, specifically Harold Landry, plays the Lions this weekend in Detroit as well, to make it even crazier. So, just to let you know, in my personal opinion, I think the Lions may be a little bit thirstier to make sure to do whatever they got to do to get as aggressive as they need to get to trade for him, more than us, especially after losing Aiden Hutchinson, who he literally was on pace for like a historical season before that insane leg injury. Man, prayers out to him, man. And on top of that, the Lions are obviously like 100% all in for a Super Bowl this year. Guaranteed Super Bowl contender type of stuff. While us, I believe we are strong playoff contenders, but I still feel like we have like a couple of holes that another elite offseason like we just had in this past 2024 offseason could easily fix and make us unstoppable, to the point that we are unanimously considered Super Bowl contenders. But for right now, I think we're just trying to win and see how far we can go. But we're not in the same lane as the Detroit Lions, where it's like Super Bowl or bust basically at this point. You still have a lot of Commanders fans out there even unsure of whether or not we should be buyers leading up to the trade deadline. While the Lions, they're undoubtedly buyers right now. So there's a difference between the Lions and the Commanders is my main point. Are we going to be willing to do what it takes to get him if we end up in a bidding war with the Lions, who are probably really desperate for a Harold Landry type of guy? I mean, we are way ahead of schedule. Shouts out to Adam Peters and Dan Quinn and all of those guys. And we're even reportedly interested. Adam Peters and the Commanders are looking into the Harold Landry situation. And I've already probably talked to the Titans and everything. But maybe we're not ready to do whatever it takes to outbid the other interested teams, man. But you never know. Adam Peters has surprised me several times already in just the 8 months that he's been here, since he's been our GM. So you literally never know. And even though I do believe the Commanders are in buy mode right now leading up to the trade deadline, especially since we've been linked to several players in several different positions already, like Zadarius Smith and now Harold Landry of edge rushers. And then trustworthy sources also confirmed that we were trying to sign Marquez Valdez-Scantling, the wide receiver, before he ended up signing the Saints and picked them over us. So Adam Peters is definitely shopping. The point is, will he buy? There's a difference there. Shopping and buying is not the exact same thing. Shopping is more so browsing. You could be calling around, but will we actually do whatever it takes to make sure the deal gets done? Because I don't necessarily expect Adam Peters to get into bidding wars with other teams for the same exact players. We'll see though. You never know. Also, shouts out to Mason Kinahan because he brings up a great point and he really summarizes it very well. One player I would love for Adam Peters to trade for right now is this Titans pass rusher, Harold Landry III. Only 28 years old and under contract through 2027, so you wouldn't even have to worry about his contract. And his contract isn't even that bad. We're going to get to that immediately after this. He also said immediate upgrade and brings depth at edge rusher. I agree. Not even depth. He's your started edge rusher. Double-digit sack guy guaranteed. He's your starter, or at least heavy in the rotation. He also has 47 plus pressures in each of the last 4 seasons, and he has 11 plus sacks in 3 of the last 4 seasons. The max I would give up for him, though, is a 3rd rounder, but he's a name to watch. Shouts out to Mason Kinahan, because I completely agree with everything that he said. Speaking of that contract, right now he's a $23.8 million cap hit. We can afford that. We have like top 5 cap space in the NFL, and then next year, he's a $24 million cap hit, and then the same thing with 2026. That's not bad. Elite edge rushers are making way more money than that. Double-digit sack edge rushers are getting paid way more than $24 million against the cap a year right now. Nick Bosa's making $34 million a year. Josh Allen from the Jaguars, not the quarterback, is making $28.25 million a year. Brian Burns of the Giants making $28.2. TJ Watt making $28. Myles Garrett making $25. Daniil Hunter making $24.5. Montez Sweat making $24.5. And Rashawn Gary making $24. Harold Landry's making the exact same amount of money as those guys right now. And then granted, he still has a couple of more years left in his contract. His contract does not end until the 2027 offseason. Some of these guys I just named contracts end sooner, and they will be getting paid way more money than what I just read to you within the time that Harold Landry will still be on this current contract. So I'm telling you, this could potentially be a steal, draft pick wise, contract wise, and everything. And also, I mean, just in case you're uncomfortable about trading for him and maybe he'll fall off a cliff, maybe you're worried about him potentially tearing an ACL or whatever, I do want to point out the fact that he also has a potential out in 2025 of his contract to save you $50 million and only take on $13 million worth of dead cap. That's a worst case scenario though, but like I've already explained earlier, I think he would be a huge addition and he would thrive in this defensive line. So I'm giving you the worst case scenario, but I don't think in a million years we would ever reach it. I think he would come here and ball out. I agree with @JDanielsMVP when he said, I hope AP is all over this. Would immediately boost our D-line now and for the long term. And that's the most important part of this. You're not just getting better now, you're getting better long term when you sign a 28-year-old who's just entering his prime and is coming off of back-to-back double-digit sack seasons. Again, you just got to take out that middle season where it's tore your ACL and couldn't play. Either way, though, when you're thinking about long-term, another aspect that people may overlook is how difficult it is to get a double-digit sack guy, especially in the draft, when you draft late in the first round, like it looks like we more than likely will end up doing. We're a great team. We're going to win a lot of games. Hopefully, we go to the playoffs, win some playoff games. Be nice to go to a Super Bowl. But when that happens, you draft late in the draft. You draft late 20s, early 30s. Right now, we are the second second seed in the NFC. If we were to draft tomorrow, if say just the draft were tomorrow, we'd be picking 26th overall right now. That's not a great spot to try and find an elite pass rush and edge rusher that can guarantee you double-digit sacks every season when the entire league places so much value into that exact type of player and position. I mean, it's literally quarterbacks, and that's the most valuable position in all of sports, in my opinion. Then it's edge rushers, and then it's left tackles, in that exact order of positional value. An edge rusher that's worth anything typically is going to go top 15, top 10, top 5, number 1 overall even in drafts. So it's just 26th pick. I don't see you potentially getting a double-digit sack guy with that pick. Maybe you can get a great corner. You could definitely potentially get a great receiver, or I mean, we don't need running back, but if you wanted a great running back, we're just talking about positional value-wise, maybe a really good interior offensive lineman or something like that. But you're not getting an elite edge rusher with the 26th overall pick, or at least it's very unlikely. Elite pass rush and edge rushers usually go away before the 26th pick in the draft, unless you do some just elite scouting and development, and there's a little bit of luck mixed in there to where a guy that people in the draft, all NFL teams don't expect this guy to be a double-digit sack guy, but then he turns out to be one. Like Harold Landry, who got drafted early in the second round. Because if everybody in the NFL believed, or if anybody believed this, he would be a double-digit sack guy within like his first 3 years of being a rookie in the NFL, he would have never have made it to the second round in the first place. So you got to get a little lucky with the 26th pick and hope to get a guy like this. So why not just go ahead and trade for that type of guy with a third round pick? You can't, it's impossible already to get them with a real first round pick in the draft. That late is where we're going to be picking. So why not, if they're willing to give them up for a third round pick, let's go ahead and do it. Especially when you have 2 of them. Imagine if we ended up flipping Jahan Dotson into a double-digit sack edge rusher. Adam Peters would deserve a Nobel Peace Prize for that one, man. I'm not going to lie, that would be insane. But again, it's probably going to be a fight to get him, because if you go on Twitter right now and just type in Harold Landry's name, all you're going to see is a bunch of Lions fans begging their teams with memes, tweets, all kinds of things to go and get Harold Landry right now. And that should tell you everything you need to know about why we should go and get him. Lions fans want him that bad, but only if the price is right, in my personal opinion. I probably wouldn't go anything higher than a third. I mean, a second, I would really have to think about it. The Titans will have to eat up a lot of his cap space to get me to do a second, but I think a third could potentially happen, because you just saw D-Hop. I was saying, man, I'd be willing to give up a third for him. Maybe he would even go for something slightly higher than that, but that's cool. And you're seeing that he got sent to the Chiefs, the Super Bowl contending Chiefs, Pat Mahomes, Travis Kelce Chiefs, for a 5th round pick that may become a 4th rounder at best if Hopkins not only reaches the Super Bowl with the Kansas City Chiefs, but plays 60% of his snaps as a Chief as well. That all of that has to take place for that pick to go from a 5th rounder to a 4th rounder. But even best case scenario, it turns into a 4th rounder. D-Hop just went for a 5th or a 4th rounder. I think you could potentially get Harold Landry, because even for like a third at least, I don't think you should even have to go higher than that, because D-Hop is going for that cheap in trade value, 4th or 5th, depending on what happens, while also being that cheap of a contract hit. You know, Harold Landry's making like over $20 million a year for these next couple of years, including this season. D-Hop is only a $2.5 million cap hit, and it's still a pretty good receiver that can help any receiver core right now. Any team adds D-Hop to the receiving core, that receiving core got better. And the fact that they were able to get him for that cheap of a draft pick with that cheap of a contract on top of it, man, I'm telling you, you never know. We may be able to get Harold Landry for a 4th. I think the only reason that I'm worried about potentially us offering a 3rd and the Titans not accepting it is because you have the Lions, the Falcons, and the 49ers trying to do the same thing, and now we're outbidding each other. But man, we'll see. This is going to be a long ride here, where our names have been attached to so many great players at edge rusher and receiver so far. I'm really excited to see where all of this goes. But before we get up out of here, if you look on the screen right now, I have Wednesday's injury report for the Washington Commanders. Officially, Brandon Coleman, Jaden Daniels, and Zach Ertz did not practice today. Zach Ertz, we already know, always with rest on Wednesdays. That's just every week type of thing. And we're not surprised about Jaden Daniels and Brandon Coleman, because I already told y'all about that earlier today. And then limited, Nick Allegretti's always limited. Dorrance Armstrong with a rib injury, that's probably positive news that he's limited. Maybe he'll be able to play against the Bears, return against them after getting hurt against the Ravens. Tyler Biadasz limited with a thumb injury. I talked about that in my video after the game against the Panthers, that it looked like he was banged up. He was holding his hand. So there you go. It's officially listed as a thumb injury. He's limited. I think he'll be good to go though, because I think he ended up finishing the game. Same thing with Dyami Brown. In my post-game review video after the Panthers win, I talked about the fact that Dyami Brown also had a slight hobble, limp to his walk. It's apparently an ankle injury. He was limited as well. Cleveland Farrell knee injury. The fact that he's limited, just like Dorrance Armstrong, is positive news, because these are guys that were just limited and do not participate on these exact same injury reports just a couple of weeks ago in the past week. Then Dante Fowler dealing with a groin injury. He's limited. We'll have to keep track of that. Cornelius Lucas with a neck injury, limited. That scares me, because we already have Brandon Coleman not participating with a concussion injury, even though Dan Quinn, like I talked about in my video earlier, did say that Brandon Coleman is successfully hitting all of the marks in his concussion protocol. But still, I feel like we need both tackles. Right now, both of them are hurt, and I'm a little concerned about that. My dog, Tyler Owens, shin injury, hasn't played in a couple of weeks. He's limited now. Maybe he'll return against the Bears. We'll need him big time on special teams. And then Emmanuel Forbes has just been a full participant in practice. I don't even know why he's still on the injury report at this point. And then when you look at the Bears side of things, hey man, defensive back Jaquan Brisker and defensive back Kyler Gordon, hamstring injury, not participating in practice. That may help us out big time. Also, their offensive lineman Larry Brown, running back Travis Homer, defensive lineman Zach Pickens, and defensive back Terrell Smith and defensive back Tyreek Stevenson, ex-Georgia Bulldog, were all limited as well. But also, I do want to point out the fact that Larry Borum and Travis Homer just came off of IR, so we'll see what's going on. Well, they just activated a 21-day window, so I don't necessarily expect them to play against us, because Jordan McGee has been a full participant in practice for the past couple of weeks and still never played. He's about to make his debut against the Bears finally, but since those guys are just being allowed to practice from IR, I don't expect those guys to play. So you could probably already cancel out Larry Borum and Travis Homer, but then again, those guys haven't participated in practice or haven't played in a single game so far this year yet. Same thing with Jacob Martin down there as a full participant. I'm not expecting him to play even though he is a full participant, but we'll see. And then long snapper, their boy Scott Daly over there, their long snapper even got hurt, but he's a full participant, so nothing to really worry about. But I'm seeing a lot of defensive secondary, specifically injuries for the Bears that may be to our advantage right now. Of course, you know, they're praying that Jaden Daniels doesn't play, because they know if Jaden Daniels plays, we'll win that game. And of course, just like you're seeing these Wednesday injury updates, I will of course make sure that you get the Thursday one tomorrow, as in October 24th, and officially the Friday one on October 25th as well. Y'all know me, man. I'm doing like 2-3 videos a day, and that's always going to be a part at least of one of them. So make sure you stay tuned for that. I will give you the final update as well by Saturday about who's out, who's questionable, doubtful, and all that type of stuff for both teams. So make sure you stay tuned for that as well. But yeah, man, that's the end of this video. Please get in the comment section. Let me know how you feel about everything discussed in this video. Please stiff arm that like button, stiff arm the subscription button, stiff arm the bell next to that subscription button so you get notification each and every time I release an informative and opinionated video just like this one. Please make sure you stay tuned for all of the Commanders content. This is my second video today. I mean, how dare I take a day off? Because, you know, the past couple of days has been 3 videos a day. But my point is, make sure you always pull back up and refresh the StreetScores YouTube page, because when in doubt, I usually already have another video up there that you didn't even notice. You may have missed the notification. Either way, make sure you definitely stiff arm that like button on the way out. I got y'all covered everything: Commanders injury updates, player acquisition, trade rumors, trade reports, any trades that we actually make. Of course, if we trade for somebody, you know I'm gonna give a full, comprehensive, over 30-minute breakdown on the guy that we traded for or signed. So make sure you stay tuned for any moves that the Washington Commanders make. Your one-stop shop here. And of course, please let me know in the comment section how you feel about everything discussed in this video. Let me know how you feel about the whole Harold Landry situation. What are you willing to give up for Harold Landry, or do you just straight up not want him at all? But if you do want him, let me know what is the highest draft pick you'd be willing to give up for him and why. All of that type of stuff. Let me know how you think he may fit on this defense. Do you feel like he's improved as a run defender and edge setter like I do, like I've seen on tape, and like Pro Football Focus feels like what is great? Let me know how you feel about all of that. And of course, again, do not leave this video without leaving a like. I really appreciate y'all. I'm gonna try my best to read and reply to as many comments as possible. Catch y'all later. And oh, before y'all go, remember that this video was sponsored by BetUS Sportsbook and Casino. And please, again, I really urge y'all and want to emphasize, gamble responsibly, y'all. If you don't do nothing else, please gamble responsibly. I really appreciate y'all. I'm gonna catch y'all later. I'm out.